I've been doing business coaching for the last 15 or 10 years straight. Network marketing, top income earner, building big teams. So when it comes to helping other people start businesses, it's I got the experience. I did collections first, and collections is the reverse of sales. I was great at collections. I had big, stupid bonus checks, and when I knew commission only money was the way to go, I never went back to a job. I mean, the first thing you gotta look at, like, everybody is not a leader. Let's be honest. Like, I know people say, anybody can. No, it's certain things and shoes that has to be filled by a specific person. But you need to play your role in your part, or whatever part it is that you're playing, but you may not be that person.
What's going on, family? It's your boy Darius back with another episode of Influence to Impact Podcast, where we have influential conversations, y'all. Today, I got a special episode for y'all. A lot of people have been asking branding, marketing. You've been asking how to get more clients, how to structure your business. Today, I got the best in the game. I got my guy T. Anthony Money, and then I got Marlot. How y'all doing today?
You doing okay, man? Thanks for having us.
Oh, thanks for coming on. I appreciate y'all. I think this episode is going to be so special because a lot of the people that our audience, they are looking to get started and get to the money. Everyone talks about all these, 200,000, you go on Instagram, 500,000 more. But before people get there, it's like, we have to get you to a place where you're set up right and you're doing what you need to do to bring in money. So I want to say appreciate y'all. Before I get into the game, I know y'all got a whole lot of that. I'd like for my audience to know, I know there's someone at home who's looking at y'all and they see y'all online and they're thinking maybe, I don't know if I can get to that level, right? Every time I go, oh, it look good. Y'all killing it. Yeah. Tell the people about before you were here, though. Before you got to this point, getting to this point, what was your story and what was that like?
Well, for me, I've been doing business coaching for the last 15 or 10 years straight. Network marketing, top income earner, building big teams. So when it comes to helping other people start businesses, it's I got the experience. But before all that, before all the glitz and the money and everything that I've done thus far, you have struggle periods. Leaving Ohio, not knowing anybody, coming here at a time where we didn't even have GPS, coming to Atlanta before the skyscrapers was put up, being here, when most people come to Atlanta, they go into homelessness. I was one of those people, trying to find my way, but I was determined enough to say, I'm not going back to my hometown. I'm not going back to my family. For like 2 or 3 years, people didn't even know what I was going through because I didn't even communicate. I would go back home every blue moon, stay for one day and somehow get back to Atlanta. That's how I made myself grounded and connected to the city, right? Because, Atlanta has an energy. It's a force field here that it's a magnet that attracts certain things. And that's how you make money. Money is a magnet, right? And you got to be the magnet to attract the money. But coming from homelessness, coming from a time to where, I didn't even have money in the bank account. Yeah. Credit wasn't where I didn't even understand credit, having a 580 credit score and just out here trying to make it, just a young 20-something-year-old trying to make it and trying to figure my way. I come from a family of streetpreneurs, so I've seen money my whole life. So the thirst for success was always there, but I didn't have the right guidance on how to get there, so I was doing it all on my own. Doing music, singing, producing for other people, all type of stuff. It still wasn't panning out.
Right.
I'm like, is this my real path? Or this what I really want to do? And then I came across, working out in the gym one day and a guy walked up to me and said, hey, man, I could teach you how to lose 10 pounds. And he invited me to a party. I went to the party and I seen thousands of BMWs parked outside of a mansion. And I heard people's story. It really didn't move me, but it was one person's story that got up there that connected with me. And I said, how do I get started? And I gave a dude my debit card and he ran it for $500. I only had probably $514. You know what I'm saying? So, that was my start. I made my first investment and I ended up doing really well in that company.
Fire.
And
at the MLM?
Yeah, that was in network marketing. And, fast forward 10 years later, I became one of the top income earners in the industry. So, I tell everybody now, just because you're struggling right now and you really can't see your way, you just got to stay consistent. That's the key to all success. You don't have to be the smartest. You don't have to look the best. You don't have to drive the nicest car. But if you stay consistent, it will pan out because it can only go up. It can't go down.
Facts. And that's the beautiful thing about being at the bottom. People don't realize the only way you can go is up. But what I heard from your story was you didn't let what happened to you actually happen for you, right?
Yeah.
Those struggles, those times where you said you didn't even know how you was gonna make it, but you knew you had to be in Atlanta. And I think a lot of people that might have went over their heads, it's you're a product of your environment.
Yeah.
And if you're in an environment where people are making money, eventually, if you keep trying, you will make more money.
Absolutely. Like I said, coming from a mid-sized city, where you don't see the black wealth. You don't see, when you think about the good neighborhoods, you think about those other people living in those neighborhoods. But when you come here, the inspiration to see us doing it at a high level, that's where I talk about the magnet. That's what attracted me to it. It wasn't the parties, even though I partied and all that when I first got here. Big mistake to anybody that's coming, leave the parties alone. But yeah, but like you said, that beginning story, even if you're struggling now, it's God is creating a story for you. It's just a creative story. And if you stay consistent, that story will turn out and pan out exactly what you want.
That's good. That's good. Hey, you, Marlot, talk to us.
Woo, guys, how I got started. I didn't even know what entrepreneurship, that word, what that meant. My backstory, my grandfather got sick and I wanted to take care of him. So I ended up with a home care agency because I was taking care of my grandfather. And that business, it did well. It was a $3.5 million business a year. And I'm for, I guess, sometimes you don't always make the best decision. So I had 2 kids, single parent, doing well. And then I moved across the country, 16 hours away from home because I'm thinking my business is doing well. And COVID hit and, you just realize that certain foundations isn't set, into place. So I'm out there with 2 kids and going broke fast because I'm going broke. So for 8 months, I had to live off my credit. And I just figured it out. I figured out as I was living off my credit, I just started figuring out the credit system. I started figuring out, how to build business credit, how to get more businesses. And from there, I was like, I think I can help other people. And like I said, it was me and my 2 kids. I didn't have any money. I had to DoorDash sometimes. I had to, what's the thing called? Instacart. All of that. So, but I would tell somebody to just keep going. I'm not a one-hit wonder. I know if I did it before, I'll do it again. I built another 6-figure business. I opened up my home care agency. So my goal for 2025, and we in month 6, is to help 10 single moms get in this digital space.
Let's go. I love that. And I think, again, same sentiment is like the things that you were going through, they were teaching you. And I feel like sometimes struggle is our best teacher, right? So you learn the credit system because you had to figure that thing out, right? And it was got to get paid. And he's talked about being resourceful. And I feel like entrepreneurs, they might think it's the thing you do. Oh, because you did the health here, because you did the business coaching, not knowing that, no, it's who you had to become. That who you went through where it was hard. That's entrepreneurship. Like,
Yeah.
how do I keep going when I don't even know how these bills are about to get paid next month, but I gotta stay optimistic and knowing that it's gonna work and operate in faith.
And that's my passionate of it all. But before you come into the program is the mindset part. So the mindset is breaking those limited beliefs of knowing that you deserve it, you worthy of it. You got to get beat through those voices that's coming through your head saying, you don't got this degree, you don't have this, you don't have that, to a single mother with 2 kids and you can't make it. So the first part is the mindset mastery.
That's hard.
And breaking limited beliefs.
I love that. So talk to the people. What type of, or what if there's some of the mindset traits that a person needs to be successful?
Failure. Failure is only temporary. You have to fail your way up. It's temporary and it don't stay. You just got to keep going. If you stop, that's, it's like going from Ohio to Atlanta and then you stop in Tennessee and then you go back.
Back.
Get there, get over the hump and, be in it. Because if you stay consistent, something's going to shake. So what I learned through working, through selling stuff on the side or whatever, If you just keep going, it's going to unfold. You keep hitting something, it's going to break open. So, it's just the fundamental part to me about everything that you do.
Well, that's good. They say 90% of success is literally just showing up.
Yeah, it is. And, my mom, she moved to Atlanta in the 90s. So that's probably why I moved 16 hours away with no real plan.
Yeah.
Because, I got a little bit of my mom in me. And then early 2000s, I called my cousin up because I get some more, I think I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
I didn't know he was going to be like, let's go. I left him. I came down here and got us an apartment in the trenches. And then I left him because I was like, I can't live here.
Stanton Road and D-Low. If you want to ETL, you know where Stanton Road and D-Low is. That's where we was at.
Yeah.
For sure. Southwest Atlanta. Shout out to y'all.
So what about you? A mindset gem that someone could take on how they can get closer to their goals?
Well, the mindset is just, accepting, where you at, but, having the vision to go further, Like if I knew that I was in Africa and, at one point me and my family just had rice, okay, I'm going to accept that I'm there, but my mind is going to tell me I know I can go further, So what do I need to do right now to stop me and my family from eating rice every day? Because we want steak, we want lamb, we want salmon. So it's something like a chemical balance. It's something in the chemical hormones in a human's mind that says, okay, it's something over there, but I got to get over there to go see it. And once I see it, now I got to see how it feels. Once I feel it, I want more. So I think that most people, whatever situation they in, their mindset is keeping on where they accept it, where they are.
That's hard. So but based on you said, I love that. That was the answer. But my question is, do you believe then, because you talked about something about chemical. Do you believe that entrepreneurs, both of y'all, are born or entrepreneurs develop?
No,
Develop.
Nobody's a born leader. Every leader is created. Even with development, it's created by somebody who's higher than them, outside of God, because God appoints whoever your mentors and coaches is to you. And those people help shape and create the leader that you will become. But you wasn't born a leader. Nobody's born and a magic finger was put on you and say, hey, that person's going to be a leader. No, they were created. We talking about from Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, all these people was created and shaped. So no, nobody is a leader. You're not born, you're created.
Yeah, and I think to be a good leader, you have to be a good follower. In the beginning, I know some people want to already have what you have or whatever, but I think when you always gonna put your own juice on anything,
Nice.
right? So you don't copycat, but you have to follow and serve so that you can be like, okay, let me put my juice on it. So anybody out there that I just want what Darius want without following the system or without being a servitude, it ain't gonna work. And most of the time it don't. You see a lot of friends and family, they want you to go do the work.
Yeah.
And just hand it to them. And then they wondering why it ain't working. Like even if you do hand it to them, you can sit there and watch it, hand it to them, and it'll go out. Yeah. Cause they didn't.
Never work.
Never.
It was no servitude behind it. So, and it's definitely, skills are always taught. Some stuff you are natural at. We talk about gifts all the time. We all do have a natural gift, but you still got to work at it.
Thanks. I'm gonna tell that's good. Now y'all snapping right now, and I agree. I think that people don't understand. They might look at y'all chapter 20. If they didn't hear your story, they might say, "Oh, they just got it so good." But we take your story, then oh shoot, they have to identify. I haven't done anything yet to look at their chapter 20 and think that I can just go get there with a stab of it.
I mean, the first thing you gotta look at, like everybody is not a leader. Like let's be honest. Like I know people say anybody can. No, it's certain things and shoes that has to be filled by a specific person. But you need to play your role and your part or whatever part it is that you're playing, but you may not be that person. It's not a lot of me. I know that, not being cocky, but I know with my skill set, I've worked with enough people to know that I come few far in between.
Yeah.
And I'm cool with that, but it's other people that may hold and lift me up to be the person that I am. So I feel like everybody should play their part. You'll never be that man or that woman, but you need to do your part. It's like being in a singing group. Just Beyonce, let's face it, she's the leader. So there's no need to compare the other girls with her because they're playing their part. and we all still gonna get paid.
It's a better team.
That's what a team is. If something happened, I got to do this real quick. But this ain't my thing. It took me like 6 hours to take somebody's 10 minutes. And it was giving me anxiety to, get over here and do all this stuff.
Get on everybody about that. I say, you're not good at that. I'm going to tell you you're not good at that.
Because you need some.
You're wasting time doing things you're not good at. So let's put a couple dollars together and let somebody else do that so you can focus on what your gift is.
And don't be afraid to spend. Like, I think a lot of times, I tell people a lot of times, it's been plenty of times I've had a negative $4.67 in my account. But what I believe with money is a tool. So it was a tool to get me in a room with you.
Mm-hmm.
It's a tool to get me in a room with other leaders. It's a tool to, when money come to me, I'm like, where do I put this at? Is it a system I need to buy? And I'm okay with it. It might be tight. I might have just spent $10,000. In the last 6 months, I kid you not, I've spent $70,000 on marketing.
But that's, let's say that again, quick camera. You need to hear that.
Yeah, spend $70,000 as a marketing.
Yep.
So she's gave a small number. It's more like 100,000. And the reason I say that is because some things we had to do over and pay again
in our time,
and we're not calculating all the travel that goes in. So it's more like 100,000 because we probably spent 30,000 traveling.
That's I think people need to hear that because they just think it's just sweet. And you said something good. Like sometimes we don't even have it, but we have to operate in fear. Right? Faith over fear. Because you got to pick one at the end of the day.
We're on the investment.
I have it, or do we really have it?
Exactly.
I think people got to understand the difference between those two. How bad do you want it is going to determine what you got. You know what I'm saying? So I look at $100,000, but my goal is 1.6 million. So if you invested 100,000, what do you think your ROI going to be?
That's it.
So you can't think about, do I have it? How bad do I want it?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
But I think a lot of people say they want to spend the $10,000 like ideally when they get to $1 million, and they don't understand like it don't work like that. It don't work like that. You don't move from your hometown when you get $80,000. You just got to make up your mind and decide. So it's the will to do it. And once you make up your mind, the other stuff will start unfolding. And most people can't get out of certain things because they think like, I'm waiting to get this huge. We see it over and over during income tax time. I'm waiting to get this huge lump sum to do something. Then when the huge lump sum come, we buying furniture, we buying cars, and then we forget and like, oh, I just had a car.
Do that, right?
Yeah. So, it don't work like that. So, if you don't have anything, I'm not saying go out and, I'm not talking like a preacher, like give me your light bill money or any of that stuff, but that's how it's a tool. It's energy. It's not anything else, my partner always says it's just a bunch of zeros. And he's like, it's easy. It's easy when you look at it as a bunch of zeros. It's not that.
You can
it's invisible.
These zeros can you count? Like when people say, I don't have any money, I said, that's in your head. Just like those zeros in your head.
Exactly.
So if you can count the zeros in your head, they could be in your account.
Exactly.
So, it's just about it. You got to make up your mind to want whatever you want. You know what I'm saying? Like it ain't about being greedy. It ain't about, none of that. You can have whatever you want on this planet. You know what I'm saying? So if you say, okay, I know I need 30,000 to live this year, but I want 180,000. Okay, what do I need to do to increase that 30,000 to that 180,000? How much do I need to make per month, per week, per day to hit that number? And then when you break it down like that, how many people do I need to assist me to make that money? It's easier to get it because now you put the number. You set the number aside and you put the moving force with the people in front of it. Now you say, okay, I need to help 20 people get this much so I can get this much.
And he's cooking. That's something that he teach on his own in every, coaching session, any of that stuff. He breaks it down and teach it. And I think he teach it to us.
We don't have to be scared of money no more when we know that money only comes from one place, and that's people. Let's count the people and let's not count dollars.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? So I look at that. That's just the way my mind works. You know what I'm saying? I had some good coaches and mentors who really, school is one thing, but experience is something different.
Experience is different. That teacher can't tell you. They made.
A lot of teachers, telling in business school, teaching you how to do business, and they only make $30,000 a year.
And they ain't never had a business.
So how does that work out? For somebody who really wants to do this and say, I'm about to pay $80,000 to go to this school and be taught by people who only make $30,000 a year. You know, so I
It's
tell people,
backwards.
I tell people all the time, just you know, make a decision. Like, you know, you may not make that 100,000 this year, but what does the goal really look like? What's the small goals to get to the 100,000? You know, how many people you gonna talk to today to even get your first 2,000?
Right.
You know, and then that 2,000 turn into 4, then that 4 turn into 12, and it just keep going and going, because guess what? You still doing it. You being consistent. You being a good servant of the money. You being the servitude to people. You making sure your people are taken care of. You know, and the money has nowhere but to keep on raining down on you.
That's a fact.
You know, so
Y'all said something both so good. It's like what can't be measured can't be advanced. People will set a goal, but they don't know how to obtain a goal. You talked about micro goals within the bigger goal and all these things. And one thing we always talk about is I tell people you need to make at least 50 offers a day. You need to have spoken to at least 50 people a day. People are talking about, oh, I'm not making the money. It's not working. No, you ain't working enough. Like
it's working.
It's working. You're right. It's not just sweet. But this is good. I want to get into for the people. You guys have a great structure. Obviously, y'all are coaching people. How does someone foundation get set up with getting their business right so that they can go out and start making this money?
Well, the first thing I tell everybody to do, if you got an idea, or maybe it's a hobby, or maybe, you know, you getting a couple dollars here and there off of some friends and family, but you say, you know what, I really want to, you know, do this as a business. The first thing you want to do is set the business up right.
Okay.
That means, you know, you go get an LLC, LLC is cool, but it depends on how much money you're going to start making for tax purposes. But if you brand new, start with your LLC, get that set up, get you a DUNS number, you know, even get you a NAV account. I tell people, get a NAV account so you can monitor, you know, what the business is doing. Get your first trade lines off of there, 2 or 3 trade lines. Go ahead and activate the paydex score on your, you know, Dun and Bradstreet. And then once that stuff populates, now we could look into, okay, what does your personal credit look like? Okay, let's start there first, because I know people say you can get funding with just, you know, with bad credit, but I don't recommend it.
Yeah.
You know, it's going to take you 2 or 3, 4 or 5 years to get what I can get in 2 or 3 weeks.
Nice.
You know, so let's start with your personal credit, and let's start building your business credit profile at the same time. So if it's going to take your credit 6 months to get restored, then we got 6 months to build the business profile. So as soon as that baby flip over and you get that 720, 730, boom, we already in there doing the PGs. We already in there looking to see exactly what you can get, you know, money wise, credit card stacking wise. Use up TransUnion, use up Equifax, use up, you know, all of them. Now you in a system.
Yeah.
Because it's a system to get the money, right? And if your profiles don't look good, you ain't gonna get the money, you know, and you're gonna be kind of broke because you're using your own money. And you know you want to use those people's money. And so that's what we tell people. Start with that foundation first. Let's set it up right so you legally protect it. You know, making sure whatever your state you in, Georgia, Nevada, whoever you do it, that you know what you need for those states. Because people say go to Delaware, but I tell people don't do that. Because
You know, they ever did it?
No, but it's like for what? People be like, "Whoa!"
It was a nightmare. I'm telling y'all.
Yeah, it's like
It was a nightmare for me. But they don't tell you got to pay the taxes. You got to have a registered agent. You can't be your registered agent. Any one of those things fall, they revoke your license. So, but the foundation is, to me, the key. Once you can start with the foundation, go into the funding. Now let's create your image and brand. Now we got the funding. We got you $100,000. Let's take $25,000 and put it aside for your marketing and promotion now. You know what I'm saying? Then once you get that part right there, you all in the game and in the business like it's doing something. We starting to make a little profit, $10,000 a month. Now it's time to scale. We're gonna add other streams within that one stream to build out your whole business. We're not gonna go do 7 different things. We're gonna do 7 things in the same stream.
that's so good because people would think when they hear the average millionaire has 7, you think it's big cakes and personal trade and teach. Oh, it's
And now you burning at both ends of the candle.
and both are broke because you ain't focused on one. So I love that. So what I want to do is, if y'all can, I want to give people gems on each part, right? So what are some ways that people can start building a credit to get in position for the funding?
Once you do a credit analysis, a lot of times I see people have collections or charge-offs, stuff that's erroneous on their credit report. So the first thing you want to do is get those things removed by either learning the credit system yourself, because a lot of sometimes in our system is $149. It's very affordable and $49 a month. So when people say that's too high, well then the other part is learn it yourself, get those things off.
Yeah.
But now you got to have some credit builder accounts. Sometimes people got a lot of high utilization. So the utilization comes with you probably have to talk to somebody to figure out how to do a bridge loan.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. Do y'all recommend? I hear people talking about like trade lines. Do you recommend trade lines, or if so, when?
I recommend trade lines when it's ready.
Okay.
So let's say you only got 3 active accounts on there, and then you need 2 type of trade lines. You're gonna need primary, which are yours, and then you're gonna need some trade lines that you can buy to other people already got and make you authorized user. But you want to use them right at the end when it's close to start getting funding, because you may only get 30 or 60 days to use that trade line. And so we ain't wasting no money. So, I recommend the primaries, as many as you can get that can go back 2 years, this, that, or, they give you a $3,000 or $4,000 credit limit, but it's a fake credit limit, but it shows up and it calculates into the utilization. So I would say trade lines primary immediately. I would say authorized users and stuff like that. You want to use it right when it's time to get to the funding table.
So they were kind of like the icing on the cake.
Yeah.
Everything else is good. Okay, I love that. And then in terms of funding, right? What's a couple gems that you all can give people who are looking to get? We'll even go to the business. Their first, $20,000 to $40,000 on the business side.
I would say, use your personal first.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like do a personal, I know a lot of people do personal loans.
Yeah.
I don't dabble as much into the personal loan side, but I know that it's worked for a lot of our clients. So I would say get you a small personal loan, $20,000, $15,000. And then when you get that personal loan, take half of it and pay it back immediately so you're never worried about it. Take the other, I guess, 11,000, whatever you got left, or 9,000, and you can start investing that into the business. So you're not making no payments for almost a year while you're still investing and flipping that money. And then now that could take your utilization down because you could pay the credit cards down. Boom, now we at the business funding table. So that's what I would tell people to do. I didn't do it that way when I first started mine because 10 years ago it was a little different how stuff run. But, this is what I see a lot of the funding people do now, which I love it because, I'm putting some money in your pocket immediately. That's another primary trade line. And, you can trick those people by paying half and then a couple months later dip back into it and get some more money from it.
Oh, you're doing the jam.
Yeah. My thing is if your business is set up and you have everything is cool or whatever, and you have and the person needs like, I don't know, $20,000 and you have a bank account, credit union, most of the time, maybe not the credit card, or you can apply for a credit card and a credit line at the same time. And, that's most of the time I tell my bank I'm looking for marketing dollars, to take my business or whatever to the next level. And they generally will give you anywhere from $15,000 to $20,000 if on the credit line or the credit card or, on debt capital. But a lot of times they want to see what's happening in your business. So if they see what's happening to your business, then they'll give you a quick $10,000 or $20,000 too.
Or, while you're working with your funding coach, they could actually look at banks who are startup friendly.
Exactly.
You don't have to have a lot of times all that stuff. If you got a relationship with a good credit union and they startup friendly, they'll give you $15,000 without nothing, none of that stuff that you got. So I feel like you should build relationships with your local credit unions.
Yeah.
And
I like credit lines because you can use it,
come back,
pay it, and then, whatever, so but the one thing I would say is don't go apply for any of that stuff and you don't have a plan yet because it can become overwhelming. It's due in 30 to 45 days.
And you're going to give Gucci them your funding money. You don't get the funding money.
Yeah, but you can definitely use it where everything's not tight. A lot of times people, wonder should they leave their job and all this other stuff. Maybe no, not that, but you still need some cushion there, but you still need to know the structure and what you're going to do with the money.
So when y'all have y'all students, I'm sure that's actually probably a question that comes to my mind. Hey, I want to leave my job. When shall I leave my job?
I'm going to stop everybody right now. You do not leave your job. You have to write an exit plan. So if you're not making no money in your business, your only income is your job. Why would you walk away and think you're about to go make $200,000? You stay at the job long enough until you either match the income at the job or you exceed it. But you got to write an exit plan. You say, okay, I'm gonna write an exit plan for 6 months. I'm leaving this job. So now you got to go to work because you know you got to build that income up to even order to do it. I never recommend none of my students for leaving their job.
Yeah, just work harder on yourself than you do at your job. So if you gave your job 8 hours, you're gonna probably have to come home and do some overtime, 4 hours, 6 hours, not going home, go to bed, and then get up tomorrow and on the same, routine because you got something else that you're building.
And you can't have your pinky toe in the water with business.
Yep.
Eventually, you got to leave.
Got to.
So, but just be smart. Be real diplomatic about what type of choices that you're going to make when it comes to becoming an entrepreneur, because it's not easy. Let's be honest with these people. We all make it look easy, but it's a lot of struggle. It's a lot of times you don't get paid. It's a lot of times you got to pay your people before you pay yourself.
Definitely.
It's a lot of times you're gonna be with AT&T and you got to let 2 months roll by on your phone bill.
Yeah.
Let's just be totally honest. So stay at that job, work that job, but work your business.
That's it.
Work your business.
What people don't realize is you said it is what you're 9 to 5. That's your stability.
Mhm.
But if you say that you want to leave, then understand when you get off at 5, you got to go to your work. You got to do your job 5 to 9 p.m. If that's 4 hours every day, I'm going to do this. I'm going to execute this. And, people don't.
Oh, gosh, it's not easy. Like you said, getting on those phone calls at 7:30 at night, my brain be shutting down too. So, but when it's a promise that you let yourself down and you don't believe in you, nobody else will. So, it's just a thing that you got to do, but it's easier to be like, I'm going to bed.
And I think
And it's how bad do you want it?
And I also think people get tired quick. You got to have stamina as an entrepreneur. If you're always tired or, you worked 8 hours and you come home and you just beat, it may not work out for you the way that you want because you have to have stamina. That means sometimes you're only going to get 2 or 3 hours of sleep and you back at work, but you back doing your business. You back at work, you picking up the kids, you cooking dinner. It's going to be a hustle for a couple years until you get exactly where you want to be. So you got to have stamina.
That's a fact. And then in the stamina, like I said, I go back to the beginning. I ask y'all stories because y'all stories build stamina for your business now. Right?
Absolutely.
So that's a beautiful thing. Getting into now, they got the business structure, they got the funding. I know we talked about branding and marketing, right?
Yeah.
Give us some gems on how, I want to brand myself a specific way to maybe attract a certain audience, and then some marketing just for how I can go acquire my first 3 to 5 clients.
The first thing I would do is say, I always go back to the old school, before you can get the ad spend, before you can get the funnels and all these different things, create you a list.
Yeah.
So if I'm selling something, I'm going to think to myself, who would need what I'm selling? And if I'm on social media, who the people that always comment on all my posts? So you create this you create your own, I call it your personal list. And it doesn't just have to be friends and family. It could be strangers too, but who's always paying attention to you because people buy from who they like and trust, right? So that's what I would do. I would create this list, and there may be 100 people on the list. I know out of 100 people, I can get 20 of them to buy something from me. So you gotta, start there. And when you got that mentality, it's gonna push you to do more. Okay, if I did 20 people this week, how many people can I do next week? How many people do the 20 people that came in with me know? Let me get to their list. So it's a strategic move that you can make to get yourself going. And next thing you know, you probably made $2,000, and you're like, okay, I gotta turn this 2,000 into 5,000. So I think, when it comes to branding and marketing, you want to start with your own tribe, and you got to build the tribe bigger as you go. So if you're a single mom or, you got a story as a single mom, why would you be going after athletes? Your tribe is single mothers.
The old you that you needed. You
Bound to get to your point.
They need to see where you came from and where you went. So that's going to give them the motivation to follow you. Now you an authority in that niche, what I'm saying? So I feel like, with your branding and marketing, it's not just flyers, it's not just graphic arts. It's about the personal brand and image.
Yeah.
So you got to create that by, being authentic.
And you said it ain't just flyers. People be thinking, marketing, throwing up a flyer. I'm like, what the heck is that, right? We know it's not. How do you relate to the people? How do you develop trust, giving away value, in leading by example, in showing the receipts, all this stuff. So that was so good. Any gems that you got for that?
I agree, definitely. I mean, I feel like in a woman space, I think that we are already naturally, you know, like when we have babies, we holding a carriage. Like you said, we making the dinner, we running down the street, we combing hair. So I think like when we get into business, we already got 10 things that we want to do. And sometimes you have to step back from it and say, you know, like you said earlier, it's the 3 or 4 pillars to focus on to make this make sense and, you know, have grace because that's how we're wired. You know, even in partnership, that's why I was telling you earlier about the strengths and stuff. You know what your weakness is, and then, you know, if you have a partnership, a masculine partnership, then they can kind of form it a little bit and be like, hey, let's put it right here. Or, you know, hey, what time is my appointments? They this time or they that time, you know, so because that's just who we are by nature. I mean, we can learn to be other stuff, but who we are by nature, who we is, romantic relationships, cousinships, you know, all of that stuff. Yeah, like it's still all the same. So you find your space and then you say, okay, let me step back from some of this stuff. And then this is what I want to do.
I mean, keep in mind your brand is your biggest asset. You know, you either got a great brand and great reputation or you don't have any at all. You know, so I feel like if you're going to build a brand, no matter what you're doing, make sure that you're build it, you know, to the best authenticity that you can probably do it, because people are going to follow those people who they like, love, and trust. You know, and if you ever lose that from them people, it's hard to get it back.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
What do you think is some of the things that you all have done to be able to, I think this would be good for them, specifically some things you all have done to earn the trust of, you know, the people that you all now.
I think me and her always, when we have our meetings and we talk with each other, we always say we never want to do nothing that's going to hurt our people.
That's hard.
You know, so if it's not real, or, you know, we're just doing it to make a couple dollars, we probably shouldn't do this. You know, so let's make sure, you know, we're giving our people so much value when they leave us and they go out there in the world and become even bigger than us. They'll always look back and say, man, I remember when I was with Coach T and Coach Marlot, they taught me this, and they'll be saying our names on big stages, you know, like I say my mentor's name. So I say we gonna always be, you know, do everything with integrity.
That's great. And the reason it's great is because, like, my saying's in alignment. We love on the people and the money will come. But I think when you put the money first, you don't build something long term. And the people can feel that. But when you put the people first, the money comes because you're really helping people.
Absolutely.
My thing is just being transparent. I'm always able to tell my story, and I'm transparent. I'm telling you when, you know, I might always have hustle in me, but I'll be like, ah, shit, I lost all of that. Or, you know, so being transparent. So it's hard for me to connect when people aren't transparent. Like if I've only helped 3 people become 6-figure earners this year, that's where I'm at. You know, but if you ride with me, we gonna go because that's what I'm in it for. So when people create all these numbers or charge you prices that don't have no value in it, you know what I'm saying? This isn't a value. You should only charge by the value that you bring in.
I want to know, what do you guys value is measured by?
I feel like value is measured about how good it makes you feel about what you're doing. You know, like value is not you knowing everything Einstein put out there.
Exactly.
You know, it's about, do you feel good when you put this product out or when you sell this service to other people? And if you can feel good about it and there's no shiciness or shadiness or, you know, a bad feeling about what you're doing, you actually feel 100% good about it, that's the value.
Yes.
Because I know I'm giving people something to help me.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
And you helping them. So value is if you helping them. If I sell you a water and there's no water in it, you know what I'm saying? You know, how fair is that? I mean, what's yours?
No, for me, so, and it depends on the industry. For me, anything I sell and offer, my goal, it needs to be 10x. So if someone pays me 10,000, the goal of that program is to, by the end of hit 100,000. But I like to say it's not always monetary, because let's say it's I was in a mastermind with this lady, and she taught women over 40 how to bake better to keep their significant other happy. That's value because she was saving relationships, right? So value is, like you said,
And she felt good about. Yeah, she felt good about doing that.
Exactly. So now, all right, y'all showing people we got everything. They're making money now. They got their first 3 to 5 clients. Now they're like, okay, I'm making money on my feet, but now I want to be able to maybe make money in my sleep, right? That digital bag, all right? So how are y'all, or essentially, how can someone add digital products and services to their business to help them make money without having to spend more of their time necessarily making the money?
You know, a digital thing is once you make it once, you don't have to make it anymore. But you might have to perfect it or whatever. But it's once you make something once. So rather that is a song, a school community, a YouTube. It's once you make something once of value that you can get them, like you said, from point A to point B. It's made once and you push it. And a lot, but that's easier said than done, because then what do I do next? How do I sell this thing? I can't, I just get online and then what? What's the platform I'm using? And one of my first things was doing MRR product. So just buying the book that is already made and then rebranding it and buying the copyright rights and stuff and getting behind it. But then I wanted to do my own. Or what happened after my $3 million business failed? My partnerships went away. I'm down there with the kids with no significant other and what to do. So there's somebody out there that is going through exactly that and how they can come up out of that. So that's point A. Yeah.
That's hard.
So, and once that's made, how I survived, 8 months off credit. That's a digital product.
Well, my take on that would be, if you're selling digital products, it needs to be in your niche. Like I see, listen, I watch people, and I know a lot of these people never made money before, because if about when you're building brands and niches and stuff, it has to make sense. Because when I sold this client one thing, how do I sell it something else? So if it's outside of the niche, guess what happens? They go away and they go to somebody else that's giving them what they need. So anytime that you're doing digital products or things outside of what you traditionally would be doing, you want to make sure it's in your niche. So if you're doing credit, okay, go ahead and get you an affiliate account with My Score IQ. Go ahead and get, Rental Karma. You want to do all these things that's in your niche so it makes sense to your tribe. And I see a lot of people, they do it like they always do. They all over the place. Okay, I'm doing fitness, but I'm selling dog products. I'm like, how did that work with what you're doing and what's happening to your audience? It's going different places.
Absolutely.
So I feel like, from a building a team standpoint or building different, streams within that stream, you got to do something that correlates with what you're already doing so it makes sense to the people who are buying from you.
100%. And I think a lot of people, they go wrong because they don't understand. I think most people think the point of getting someone in your funnel or whatever it may be is to get a sale. It's not. It's to acquire a customer, because a customer is for a lifetime.
Exactly.
Over and over and over with you. So to what you just said, if you have, fitness you came in with, but now you got the dog stuff, you acquire customers, nothing, right? Because now they can't spend more money with you even if they wanted to.
Just look at Oprah. How does she do it?
Exactly.
Talk show, books, magazines, interviews. She keeps everything within her niche, and that's why her money keeps growing and growing, because those same people who bought that initial book, they're in her book club. They're doing it makes sense. And a lot of people, they get upset when I tell them, "Hey, dude, you all over the place. I don't understand your brain, neither do you." So, I want people to understand, like, even with digital products, even though you see the gurus saying stuff, every product ain't for you.
Facts.
Mm-mm.
You know what I'm saying? So you got to do, again, what makes you feel good, what you understand, and what's in your niche.
Absolutely. And I say ladder of ascension, right? Like, y'all are doing it. You got your ebooks for how they can learn from y'all. Then you might have your course, and you got your mentorship. It's the same thing in different forms. But each you where they're at, and they can buy a $7 ebook from y'all, and then a month later they might be in y'all 10-week church.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's just allowing people to meet you at where they're at and grow. So a lot of people say just go high ticket and stuff like that. And I am a proponent of high ticket, but I also understand everyone can't start there. They don't know me from a hole in the wall. They
and they still want a piece of you.
Exactly.
They want something from you, even though they can't afford you yet.
Yes.
Because anybody can get there.
Exactly.
But you got a $10 ebook. Okay, you may not can't afford my $3,500 course right now. Go get the ebook, and the ebook, go read that. And as you want more, we can help you get some money. We can help you do this so that
and that's made in your sleep. That's once it's made, it's made. You can put out the book today and it's selling in 2030, 2040. So it's in your sleep now.
How do y'all feel about selling? Right? Like, what are your thoughts on selling? Obviously, there's so many different ways to sell. Some people do, webinars. Some people can BSL. What are your thoughts and your approach to sell when you're telling people about y'all's product and y'all service?
I think selling is like, people are scared of it. I don't want to be sold nothing. I don't want to talk to those people. But the thing is, everything is sales.
Yeah.
We just can't get around it in this world. Everything is a sale. When you go to the grocery store, they upselling you. When you go get your car washed, the thing, okay, you want to do our monthly membership. Everything is a sale. So when you're afraid of sales, you kind of lose out, right? So I believe that, selling is the way of the world. It's not never going anywhere. And I think everybody should have something to sell. You don't want to be 100% consumer and not get none of your money back. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. So I feel like, to me, sales, if you can get over that fear of it, when the Kirby man come to your door, don't cuss him out. Sometimes you need to actually hear what he say. So, he may be teaching you something on what you need to do for your family. So, that's how I learned how to sell. I did collections first, and collections is the reverse of sales. I was great at collections. I had big, stupid bonus checks. And when I knew commission only money was the way to go, I never went back to a job. So, selling to me saved my life. And it changed my family's life. And, I'm the first person in my family to make $1 million. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like, selling, if you could just learn a little bit of sales, it's going to take you a long way.
Yeah, and selling, I mean, like he said, it's a hurdle. Even I still have to jump over. But if you know that you have an offer that is irresistible, and it's a value, it's packaged up. So, how do I, you need something from me, and how do I give in to you? So this is what it is. I'm not an overseller. I'm not a, do this now, that type of stuff. But I want to let you know that this is out here, and maybe no means not right now. Maybe you'll come back, but I still let you know.
I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do this right now. That.
Yeah. Now I don't give the mirror thing the guy thing and the girl thing is different,
Here's the reason why. I love that you said that. They really took the further press second. They're doing that. And the reason why,
I y'all both for six spirit, both of y'all.
because here's the reason why. If they don't, now there's a chance that they may never act. And if they don't take the offer, they may never get to their dream life.
Absolutely.
That's how I look at sales now.
I think she was like more of the non-aggressive approach, but you still could be a matter of fact right now type of sale. But I am the aggressive approach. So I think that's what she was saying when she meant that. But yeah, it's all about right now, because tomorrow ain't promised.
Absolutely.
And I know you're saying you got to sit back and pray, but then you pray when you woke up this morning. That means that it's already answered. It's time for you to make that move. So I look at it right now as though, I'm helping you. I'm pulling you in to do something you should be doing, but you're hesitating.
Exactly.
So that's why I say right now.
Because of limiting beliefs. That's why they're hesitating. And sales is to break down limiting beliefs.
And if I let you go, you're going to go home to your husband and he's going to talk you out of it.
Exactly.
So you got to get this now.
Exactly. They might go see another company who shows them what you show, and they're not as good as y'all. And now they feel like they got scared. They're scared to spend money when y'all were the ones that were called to help.
Absolutely.
About it, don't play about it.
Absolutely. They'll know, both of my, even my home, she used to tell you, I'll pull the phone out your hand. And I tell you, hey, you fucked up that sale. Like I snatch it out your hand because I know your limited beliefs is messing up what you need. So because you're scared to ask for the money. What's $3,500? These people spend $3,500 at Freak Fest. You know what I'm saying? So what are we scared to ask somebody for $200 for when they in the club drinking right now on happy hour?
And that ain't gonna change their life. That ain't gonna give them no return.
So it's that part of right now that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I say that, like, and I'm aggressive, but I'm aggressive in a nice, cool, but you got to do it now type of way.
It's from a place of what's the word? The word is it's synonymous with truth. I can't think of the word, but it's from a place of knowing that your stuff. The word,
yeah,
and knowing what it
confident.
Yeah, exactly. When you know that your offer works, like y'all helping all these people, it's like, no, you need to take advantage of this opportunity because it's going to help you change your life. Right?
They'll hear me say something like this to a single mom. How many more days your kids gonna not be able to go on the vacation that they've been asking you for the last 5 years?
That's a bar.
And the reason I know that that's going to hit that person because your kids have been asking you to do stuff that you can't afford. So you mean to tell me you're going to let $300 stop you from doing exactly what you need to do for your children?
That's a fact. Overcoming objections.
Absolutely. Before they even ask them. Sit.
Nah, y'all crushed it today. I want to get into this before we get about here because I feel like this is so dope. I know you all said that y'all are family, right?
Yeah, we're first cousins.
People say should it mix, business with family?
When we get this question almost every time.
It's so rare. It's so rare. Like, I've had married couples, and even that was a different thing. But for y'all as family and doing business together, talk about the good and the bad reality for people who
I want to say this about my cousin. I can't even really say we ever had a bad. This is 100. I've never had a bad time in business with her. At one point in time when I was doing network marketing, she kind of left, but I never got bitter.
Yeah.
I grew massively, and I would always ask her, how long you gonna do this and that? How long you gonna keep staying there? And then she started, really getting bigger in her healthcare, and I kind of stepped back and let her do what she was doing, but because I was super focused on what I was doing. And then, I knew eventually in life one day, she's 7 years younger than me. So quite naturally, she, followed me, but I never treated her like she was little cousin. I treated her like she was a colleague. So, the difference between treating your family less than you is you can't work with those kind of people because you look at me like I'm at the bottom of you just because you're a few years older than me. I may know more than you. So we always treat each other like colleagues, even though, we go out somewhere, she know I don't drink. I say, I'm gonna be the driver even if y'all want to drink,
turn it up.
yeah, or, she know anytime she with me, it's 100% protection. You know what I'm saying? So I think that when you got a family member and y'all look at each other a certain way, like, okay, I know if I need $600, if I never had it again, it's one person in my family that I know gonna come through, and that's her, and vice versa. So I think you gotta have those type of family members. We know you can't work with all family. I can't work with my mama. So I love my mama to death. I take care of my mama, but far as working with her, I know that we don't have that. You know what I'm saying? But in our relationship, I can't never say we had nothing bad. We're gonna have disagreements because we humans. But we always can come to each other and be like, I'll be like, you know what, cuz I be, what you said, you is right. You know what I'm saying? Never an ounce of bitterness or, if I'm a better salesman than her, I think I'm doing something better. Nah, it's just straight up, iron sharpening iron. I told her, I told her the other day, you a mindset coach. I look at your stuff and I say, hey, you need to pour this in and to be known for this, not this and that. This is what you need to be known for. This is me sharpening her because of my own experience. And then, she'll tell me, she say, you know what, cuz I'm gonna go ahead and do this whole ebook. All I need you to do is design it because she know I'm not gonna do it. So, it's like we sharpen each other in ways that, and it can work in any relationship. It could be your significant other. It could be your husband, your wife. It could be, a child and a parent working together. Y'all have to have that in order for it to work. You got to have enough respect for each other.
Respect. My thing was going to say is respect. It's respect. Like, the dynamic is always going to be like, it's just like when a big brother talking and it start talking at you, and even if you like, oh, well, whatever, I think it's when you are trying to compete with it, or you trying to, okay, that's because I understand it walks with authority. It was older than all of us. So it's like, okay, well, and he know when I like this, because I do a lot of disappearing, I'm giving her a break. It's never really no arguments or none of that stuff. It's like, oh, I probably had, because it's a lot.
Hey, she know me. I talk loud. I'm an aggressive talker.
Yeah.
But so is she. Don't get Mila get it. She talks very loud and irritates me a lot. You know what I'm saying? But I let my cousin be my cousin. I ain't gonna never take it away from her like she'll never take me away from me. But I can be aggressive. She know how to take me that another person wouldn't. Like Terica, she know how to take me. She been working with me. That's one of my top mentees. She could take me when another person be like, oh, he's too aggressive, and she'll tell her.
They go to sleep with it. They just go to sleep with it. I mean, he comes home 20 years gone and is still walk around. He still walk around like that. It's like, so when people be like, oh, is he talking down to me? I'm like, no, this is how he talk.
Yeah.
It's not that, and it's so truthful that it hurts.
Best for them.
Yeah.
Truth in it.
And yeah. So they thinking like he's coming home and pulling them apart or whatever. And I'm like, nah, truthfully, it's a lot of love there, or whatever. Even, like you said, I would call her and say, hey, you're a businesswoman, this is that. Let me process this.
I said, what you still doing today?
Personal. Right. I didn't take it personal, because I'm just figuring this out. Whether it was love, life, or whatever, I'm just figuring it out. And I'm telling you my truth because I got to get over this hurdle, or this where I'm at, and I'm having transparency. Well, I was low vibrating right there, or I was having low self-esteem, and it's being truthful even when you don't, So I think it's just having a level of respect.
For each other.
Yep, for each other.
I think this is so dope because yes, respect, but also what it was is, a lot of people have a hard time with this, putting their egos aside. That is such an underrated trait. And I'm gonna be transparent. I think amongst specifically our people, it can be harder. So I would say commend both of y'all because I think that's the part. Like someone says something and you feel like they big dogged you or vice versa.
Yeah, but that's the competing thing.
Yeah.
So if you competing, I just talked to a guy the other night and he was talking about apologizing, and I ain't apologizing. I said, but it's the woman you love. If you know she need it, just give it to her. Like that's your sparring mate. Like why you trying to fight for 2 weeks? Like even if you're right, I'm not saying I'm still not changing what I said. But if this hurts your feelings this way, we can get over this because we got some places to go.
And the saying is, do you want to be right or do you want to be rich? Some people, they would prefer to be right, but it'd be a worse outcome. Like, bro was probably on the couch the next 2 weeks. Well, he could have just said, sorry, it was good, and now it's cooling. But some people will prefer to say I'm right than have the whole scenario actually right and better themselves.
Yeah, I got some guy arguing with me on Facebook right now about me talking about poor. And he's so upset. I said, you want to be right. You're right. You're right. Because, it's still poor people stuff. And he's upset. Oh, those people because I said poor people, wealthy people pay for stuff. Poor people don't. And he just went into this whole poverty thing. And I said, hey, you won.
Yeah.
But now what are we going to do?
What is this going to get us to?
Yeah.
Yeah. So good. And that was a moment, by the way. So thanks, no, because it's the reality. And poor is a mindset. I think people,
and pay ain't always about paying. Are you going to be a part of the team? Would you carry this thing? Or, do you pay in time? Like, you don't pay in anything. That's why you can't get ahead.
Absolutely. What are some ways, and as you said that, because some people think paying is only transaction of money. What are some ways for people in there that they can get their way into relationships is in business to start winning outside of maybe paying with their debit or credit card?
I've seen him bring a lot of people up that didn't have anything, and it was servitude.
Yeah,
it's servitude. Is you might not know me right now, but I know how to work this camera. So let me walk behind you a little bit and let me show. So and in 6 months. 6 months, you gonna want to pay,
right?
Because I walk behind you.
I say proximity. Proximity is the key to everything. Like if you wanna be a great singer, you got to get around great singers. Like if you want to be a great salesperson, get around some great salespeople. Like it's all about you putting yourself out there, and when you do that, the universe somehow opens up and it pulls you in. But if the person every time you want to make a move. Yeah, I don't know if those people like me. Oh, they think they better than me. It's not those people thinking that. That's you. Sis.
You see me text you at 10 o'clock at night.
So that's why I said,
no, oh, man, I'm in Tijuana. Well, let me know when you be back. Because it's getting early. So we can all, kick stuff, and we all got some value that we can bring to each other that sometimes we don't even know. You like, damn, I didn't even know.
And like he said, with egos, it may be a person at the bottom and they come to you and they want mentorship or they want some guidance. You got to keep in mind, one day that person could be bigger than you. So you have to understand that you see me here right now, but this is not where I'm going to end up. So I look at all my mentees and they'll tell you, I tell them, my job is to help you become bigger than me.
Yeah, I heard him the other day tell him, he was talking about this price. He said, I'm going to pay you $500 today. And I'm going to come up with it next week. He did. I got his own payment plan. And he like, there's nothing I could do with a person like this person.
I got to let them in.
It was nothing like that. I said, I got to let them in. I can't,
too. That's hard. Flooders. I think there was so many success principles we're talking about today. So I appreciate y'all for that. One thing I love to do is, before we get up out of here, is there's somebody who right now they're at 0 and they're trying to figure, how the hell do I get out of this dark space? So what is 1 or 2 things that you all can tell them, that person, to get from where they're at to create momentum?
The first thing you need to do is make that decision. Okay, you're in a dark space, but we know nothing lasts forever. We know after every storm, it's going to be some sunshine. So you can't look at the storm and say, hey, I'm in a storm. You got to look at the storm and say, which path do I need to take to get myself to the sunshine? And so right now you may only have $5 in your bank account, but look at what you do know how to do. Look at what you're good at that's hard to most people, and figure out, okay, how can I serve my way to the top? Like, what can I do? Like, is it some people like today, I know I don't have a lot of money, but I know I could probably make $100. Okay, let me call Marlot. Marlot, let me cut your yard. Marlot, let me do this for you. Let me start putting yourself in positions of servitude, because two things going to happen. It's going to make you be better at everything you do. And those people are going to look at you a certain way now. Well, I'm T. Anthony Money. You can find me on IG at the Brand Boss ATL, or you can find us on YouTube at the Bulletproof Entrepreneurs. And just tap in. We all over the place. You see our ads running and everything. You see me and her, dope pictures. We help people. Tap in.
Definitely. My Love 2004 on IG, TikTok, Facebook, and like you said, the Bulletproof Entrepreneur on YouTube.
All right, listen, another episode, the 4 pillars of business, y'all. You need them, you can't lack any of them, man. Back with another episode of Influence the Impact Podcast. Make sure y'all like, share, subscribe. We're going to continue giving y'all value, and we out.